Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Wednesday. I hope everybody had a wonderful Valentine's Day, and I hope that everybody is just filled with love in their hearts, and that if your Valentine's Day didn't exactly turn out the way you planned it, that you just moved on from it and felt the love within yourself. So today we're going to talk about, yes, Kim's back today.
Hi. Sorry I missed last week. I watched it live, but that was kind of cool. So I'm going to try to do it again, but I already don't see it happening, so we'll see what happens.
So today we're going to talk about going from hostility to love. And before we get into this, can I just make a comment? Today I decided no more media for me. After the last 2 years of all the media hype, everything, and I'm not talking just politics, I'm talking the Zika virus coming in and out.
Oh, yeah.
The flu surfacing when there's nothing else. What's that horrible vaccine that causes cancer, but they didn't know until about 5 years after? My one aunt who lives in Florida, my Aunt V called me and was telling me that her doctor took her off her Ambien because they found out that it may be causing, so they suspect Alzheimer's or dementia. That's huge. That's huge. When are people going to stop listening to like all of the hype and start listening to all the deadening things that we're like watching, listening to, believing? Let go of it, because, and the reason I'm bringing this up, it's so important because I think that what we watch in the media has so much to do with the hostility that builds up in our bodies. Like, you're eating dinner, you're having like a chicken cutlet with salad and broccoli, lemon dressing. You just sat down after a day of work and you're relaxing, and the news is on. A 2-year-old, this really happened. My heart goes out to this family in this neighborhood and the souls that this affected, all of us really on a one conscious level. A 2-year-old was shot in her home by a stray bullet from a gang fight or whatever. It's not that you want to close your mind and not know these things, but all we can do is send love, because if we keep hearing all of these terrible things that are going on in the United States and beyond, and we keep programming all of those thoughts into our minds on a daily basis, and we don't separate ourselves from things, and I'm just saying this because these are things that are beyond our control. Do I not care? No, it's not that I don't care, but I know that there's nothing I personally can do today to make that difference. But I know that I cannot get attached to that and be on my path and be serving my purpose.
Right, and everything we talk about is creating the world that we want to live in.
How do you feel love when you just heard like somebody got gunned down coming home from the market feeding their family?
You don't even live in that world. That's their world.
Right.
Right?
So and they created it.
Right, and they're putting it in your world, like when you're watching TV. So like whether you're watching a movie or the news, it's the same kind of stuff. I don't watch, very, very rarely do I watch a violent movie anymore. Like, this stuff affects me on the inside as much as if I was in an argument with somebody. Like, or I feel it, and I feel like that's what you're saying too. And I do not watch the news on a regular practice, so much so that if somebody says to me, what's the weather today, I'll say, seasonal.
Yeah,
because
really.
it's wintertime, and so it's going to be cold. Oh, it's a little warm out. Take your coat off. That's pretty much what the weather is. Looks cloudy, you know.
Right.
And if you're going to be getting snow or something major, you're going to find out about it 52 ways. They bling your phone, how many times. There was an Amber Alert over the weekend, I think. They, alert your phone to that. So anything that is really pertinent in life, you're going to find out about.
And remember, your outward life is what you're feeding your mind.
Yeah.
So if all of your life is CNN and the media and Fox News and breaking news and this just happened, that just happened, do you realize what that's doing to your cells?
Yeah.
And then look at the long term. You're losing sleep. And if you sleep deprivation, the worst thing, because you're cranky the next day, you're running on adrenaline, you have no whatsoever patience for yourself or for anything else that's going on around you. So my first thing is, and listen, I'm not saying don't be aware of what's going on around you. Be aware of it, but be aware that at that moment in time, you can just go like this. I send that situation love, because at this moment, that's all you can do.
Yeah, but then you start with your immediate circumstances and, and then go do something nice. You can certainly control the environment that you're in at any given time.
Yes.
And if you're feeling down, which is what we're going to probably segue into next anyway, but if you're feeling down, then you can go do something good for somebody else. And that
the only
changes
reason
all
you
of
feel
that.
down is because you feel powerless.
Yes.
And we're not.
Yeah.
We have the power to send out those love and vibrations and things. When my kids were, I guess, when did The Secret come out? Like 15 years ago? 16 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay. My kids were coming home from like middle school, 4-5 school, whatever. And then into high school, and they would come home from school, they'd hear the music from the movie The Secret. They'd be like, oh my God, not again. They'd come in my family room. There was like 10 or 15 people, 1 or 2 they might have known. The rest of them were strangers I started talking to at the store, and I'm like, oh, you got to see this movie. It'll change your life.
Yeah.
And way back then, I tried to teach my children about this energy and really living with it. And even to this day, there's a level of not really having it clicked for them. But I'm so glad that I gave them what I did growing up. Meditation, lighting candles with intention, saging your space to get all that old stuff out. When people come in with negative stuff, and it absolutely stays in that space. If you're watching TV and you're watching stressful stuff, that stuff's staying there. I go into a restaurant and I look at the tables and I see where I'm going to sit. We're like the worst people to go out for dinner with, but you know what? I go like this. If I see a table and the two people aren't talking to each other and one's on the phone and the other one's chomping away, I don't want to sit in that energy. I want to be talking to the person that I went out to spend that time with. You have to start separating yourself from the hostile energy and really start focusing on love. Loving yourself, loving your surroundings, making your surroundings a loving kind of place. When situations come up, stop repeating old behavior. Stop repeating old behavior, because you know what? That draws hostility to itself too. Because there you are in the same situation once again going, am I really doing this again? Did I not learn it the last 5 times?
Yep.
A lot of relationships happen like that. And they happen over and over and over again until we kind of get it. And once we apply our feelings of loving ourselves and what we expect for ourselves, we start to lose the hostility. We start to lose that anger. And we start to lose that premeditation of other people's thoughts and what they're thinking. Because now you're really in touch with what you're feeling and how you express that. You can come back with anger, or you can just be in a loving place of another lesson. I'll take it, because every lesson takes me to the next level of, all I want to do is hear my divine guidance louder and more and more and more and be aware of it. And you know what? The more I ask, the more I put it out there, the more I put like a tourmaline wall around me for all of the nastiness that's going on in the world, the more I'm feeling at peace and love and joy in my space. And I feel myself bringing that to me. And the people that are looking for it are now seeking those of us out. And I know a lot of you are getting to that place where you've allowed yourself to peel that. When you peel those layers off, you're peeling off layers of like fear and old thoughts of being abandoned,
Right.
being afraid to speak your piece. You know, we're all programmed at a very young age to not really identify and respect our feelings. You know, I was having a conversation with somebody this morning about, you know, people in relationships, and after a long time, you know, they go, well, I took those vows, and look, I took those vows 3 times, and I'm not. It's not that I'm really like. I know it sounds funny, but it's funny in a way.
Sorry.
But I learned some really serious life lessons that have gotten me to where I am, and with all said and done, where I am right now today, I'm really happy in my life in spite of everything that I've been plowing through. In life's crises that it deals to you.
Yeah.
And I've learned some really valuable lessons. And I don't know if I've said this, but it's like in those vows, you know where it says like till death do you part, in sickness and in health. Well, right before they say that, there are some lines that say love, honor, and respect. And if the love and the honor and the respect for one another is not there, I don't know, do you only value some of those vows? Do you pick and choose which vows you honor?
Well, you know what? The other thing is sometimes you get married so young, and what you just said about
I think you have to honor you first.
you have to honor you first, and where they say, I don't think all the generations before us learned this, maybe they did, but you're supposed to love yourself before you can love someone else. And so if you don't know what that means, if you don't know who you are, you know, I like that the generations now are waiting a little bit to get married and to find themselves. I have so many cousins and nieces that are traveling the world and learning who they want to be, you know, and I tell my daughter all the time, figure out what you want to do. And, you know, she's figuring her way towards the medical, you know, nursing way of life. And she said to me, it feels really good to have purpose. Huh. Thank you. Yes, it does. You know, and that's her learning herself. It just felt great. I didn't even know what purpose was till like 10 years ago. So
right,
you know?
right. And loss.
I had to read about it actually, what it was supposed to feel like.
Right. No, I hear you. Mm-hmm. And loss and hurt create a lot of hostility too, and very uncomfortable situations and feelings. And once again, like, let's go back to changing the way that we're looking at why something happened to us, and in understanding that we create our entire environment, we create all of our circumstances by what we're thinking. And as we speak, I'm sure, as a lot of you and yourself, I'm sure, I'm watching some karma happen that well, surprisingly enough, didn't take that long to happen. And, you know, things are happening so quickly that I think that the more you ask for divine guidance in letting go of hostility, anger, shame, stop thinking you created what's going on as far as you made somebody else do something. It's hard enough to get yourself to change habits. You think you're going to change somebody else? So, like, the first relationship, say you thought you could change somebody. I know it happened to me, and I didn't. I wound up being somebody's mother. And then the second relationship, I thought I could change that, and I wound up being basically a babysitter, actually for a drug addict, alcoholic, and that was not fun. And then when I realized, you know, that was not part of what I really had intended, I learned to be stronger and get away from that and separate myself from a situation that felt no more good to me, got hostile, and I started to, like, honor myself. And I woke up one morning and I said, I really deserve more than this, and so do my children, and my children don't deserve to think that this is normal. I need to get out of this. And for the first time, I let some things happen that I knew would get me out of that and away from that safely, because sometimes I know that that's the circumstances, that you don't feel safe in a hostile situation. So timing is everything, and really asking for guidance and for assistance in situations like that will really come to you at the right time. And when it happens, I'm telling you, at that moment of the most fear and anguish over turning it over to God and turning it into loving yourself and replacing all of that with love for yourself and those involved, and even the other people, I'm telling you, this peacefulness comes along, and you're already at the next step the next day within 24 hours. And you breathe and you just go, why'd I wait so long? And, for those of you out there that really need to look out for yourself and for your family and your loved ones, do it. Just do it. Just wake up in the morning and go, I'm asking for assistance all day today, whatever comes my way. I'm listening, I'm opening, I'm hearing you. Show me, tell me, put it right in front of me. Let me trip over it. Don't let me sprain anything. Just let me trip over it. Put the people, the
sometimes
places.
We need that. We don't hear and see all the signs. So
Right.
it almost has to smack
Right.
you in the head.
Exactly. Everything. Choose to view these things as a situation to learn one more thing in your evolution and your evolving to this. And I know, like, spirituality, but you really want to become that spiritual being, even though you have to walk around in this human form. You have the ability to access a spiritual being that is nothing but pure love, plain and simple. I don't know any other way or simpler way to, say it.
But it takes practice. It might not just happen.
Right.
It's probably, you wonder sometimes, but that takes practice, and the more you ask for it, the more you'll find it.
Right.
And you'll start noticing, and this goes back to pretty much every other week that we've talked about too. You have to notice what's going on, choose the positive thoughts, do the meditation, right?
And some of your hardest lessons come with the ones with the most history. Like, you could be with somebody you could know somebody since you were born. You could know somebody for 10 years. You could know somebody for 5 years. But when you build a history in whatever that time is, that's really your magnifying glass. That's really, where have I been with this relationship before, and what did I learn, and what do I need to see differently, and where do I have to change my expectations so I don't feel all the things I did, and for both of us to really grow from this.
Yeah.
Or all of us to, if it's a group situation, if it's an office situation,
Right.
You keep going and working in jobs where all of a sudden after 2 months you become the thyroid. Oh, I don't know why I use that word, but you become the doing everything about. Well, that's because the thyroid takes care of everything from the neck up and everything from the neck down, and the people with thyroid issues are the people who take care of everybody else and everything else and don't worry about themselves. That's why I use that expression. I don't know how that came out.
Quick lesson.
Anyway, when you become the caretaker of the office, and then you start dreading going in, and it becomes a hostile environment. We create our own hostile environments by letting these things in and not opening our mouths, or not moving on, or not just finding something else or a better way to make things work. And ask yourself to come from a place from love, to come from a place of love for a solution. And I'm telling you, it's happening so quickly. Are we still in that Mercury retrograde?
It wasn't Mercury. It wasn't a Jupiter. Oh.
Wasn't there a Mercury just
that.
a couple weeks ago?
No, Mercury was a while ago. It was in December, wasn't it?
December into January.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a couple weeks. We're only in February.
Yeah, but then Jupiter went into retrograde, right?
So big things happening.
And, well, we just had, over this weekend, we had an eclipse and a full moon, and what was the third?
Comet.
And a comet. Did anybody see that comet? I saw the full moon at the beach. It was very
The
beautiful.
full moon was amazing and
It
beautiful.
was awesome. It was reflecting on the water. It was awesome.
And here it is, another chance with the full moon
Yeah.
to release all the things and all the thoughts that no longer serve.
I spent a good 20 minutes by myself somehow on a balcony in the full moon with the reflection, and I was releasing for everybody. I was like, release, 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 because it was awesome. And I just felt it, and I just felt also the power of it. So,
and I love the pictures people put on Facebook charging all their crystals. Jesse, that was beautiful. If you're watching,
awesome.
That was awesome.
Yeah, very cool.
So, any questions or anything? Does anybody have any questions about what we were talking about today, or do you have like a situation? Or definitely you can privately inbox us to let us know like what's going on with you. So, I guess a couple steps that I wanted to put out there today are understand that people don't do things to us. We have to separate ourselves from thinking people are doing things to us. People are doing things, and then we're looking at them, and our response is how we're going to react, or bring it, or take responsibility for it, or just know that it's something somebody else was doing, and we can go about our day.
You're letting it happen. Kind of is the bottom line on that. You're letting that happen until you say it's not going to happen anymore. That's why it's happening to you.
Right. And another thing, the second thing is, don't look for change. Don't look for change around you. Be the change. I know we've heard it,
I
be
live
the
that.
change
I
that
say
you
it
want
all
to
the
see
time.
in the world.
Yeah,
Mahatma
always.
Gandhi, I believe, just
that's how I live.
really be the change you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Change your thoughts to what you want. Stop giving vibrational energy to a big sea of energy of things that you don't want. And if you are, and you're getting them, it's on you. It's on you.
I had an interesting thing happen on Sunday afternoon, and it was like somebody who really wanted me to, like in the career world, somebody who really wanted me to absorb like where her place was. Like she was having this moment of like kind of freaking out, and I was like, okay, however you needed to be. Like I wasn't going to react, and it was pretty much the first time that I felt the distance between it.
Right.
And I was like, I was so busy in what I was doing, and she wanted me to go down her journey, her road with her, and I was like, it's not mine. That is not my stuff. And I just wished her well, and boy, I felt it. I felt the difference in the energy, and I was like, okay, well, that's something new for me, because typically I would have gone down the journey with her.
Right.
Because I'm feeling like an empathic person, so you kind of feel how that goes. And so it's, I think, also noticing where your responses are too, because it's what we've been talking about too in your body.
Right. What somebody or a situation makes you feel like.
Yeah. Those triggers, they call them triggers too. If you're in a hostile situation, right? It's triggers.
Oh, absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So
another step.
The other thing is, one more thing is, realize relationships for what they are. They are relationships. They are people relating to each other, sailing in a direction, whether it goes the same way or it doesn't. Realize, and it doesn't always have to be a negative parting. When you can realize the whole lesson and value. Stop looking at what happened, who did this, what did they, stop looking at everything that happened leading to this, except for the repetitive behaviors that you allowed for that build-up to happen, and let it go. Realize relationships for what they are. They're a mirrored reflection of something you need to learn about yourself and for inner strength. And so many relationships, if you really look at them, are teaching you to really love yourself, really teaching you to love yourself. And I've said this before, send love out to all those people that you feel like they did you wrong, because that makes you hold on to hostility, and let go of all the hate and the anguish. I know I've been spending a lot of time these last couple of weeks sending love out to a lot of family members that have that really need healing and really need some love in their life, because they're really in some darkness. And
we also have
it's
to
given me a peace.
Kind of put that wall out there too, that we're not joining in with them on that, because when you're empathic, first of all, or when you feel what other people are feeling, it's real easy to get sucked in and feel the fear and live the fear.
Right.
So it's I've noticed I've
Right,
done that a
just
lot. Just
do
kind
it.
of put the wall out there.
Just
and a
do
lot
it.
of people at arm's length right now. Just
All you gotta
because,
do is think it.
hmm
All you have to do is think it.
Yeah.
Just like you think and manifest in your body, you can think and manifest out here.
hmm
You got this.
Yeah.
You got this.
I.
All right, well, we love you. We'll see you next week. We're glad for everybody that was able to join us. And we
Cheers
hope
to
this
you.
was a help.
And happy Valentine's Day a day later, and that's really for your own self-love.
And we send you love
We said you love.
always.
Okay.